All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the front. This is another live leadership lesson. It's Wednesday night, so I'm really excited to be here. I'm so excited to be interviewing my next guest. She is, by definition, her and I together, it's the definition of persistence to try and just get this stream going and bring out the awesomeness to all of you. So I am going to be meeting and discussing leadership with my friend, my now friend. We met, a couple weeks ago, Sharifah Hardie, and we're going to get started right after this.
Thanks for tuning in to Lead the Teams, The Front.
Now, as you know, on the front here, what we do is I discuss leadership and the characteristics and how it affects people with fantastic guests each week. So this week, I'm going to be bringing on Sharifah Hardie of Ask Sharifah. So Sharifah, how are you doing this evening? We made it.
I am fine, and you? I'm excited to be here. Technical difficulties happen all the time, so I don't feel bad. I have the same problems as a host, and we just roll with it.
Absolutely, we do. So thanks for sticking with me, and thank you so much for spending some time with me this evening. I know you have just an exciting background, and you and I kind of parallel each other a little bit from our conversation a couple weeks ago. So if you would, kind of give our viewers a brief history of who you are and what you do in 2 or 3 minutes, and then talk a little bit, just do that for now. Give a brief history of who you are and what you do, if you would.
We're going to have some fun, Mike. We're going to have
Absolutely.
some fun. We're going to get our rhythm because we had some fun the last time. You were one of the most entertaining guests I've had. So we will definitely have some fun. I'll give you a little bit of background on me. I'm a business consultant. Aside from everything else that I do, I'm a business consultant. I'm a servant. I'm here to serve people. I'm here to serve business owners. So I built my first website in 1994. In between working day jobs, I've been assisting business owners to achieve success with their businesses, whether that's their online marketing, website design, PR, but that's primarily what I do. It came from my own personal struggles of being laid off to loving life. I was laid off over 7 times. Last time I lost my job was in March of 2018. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and be a full-time business owner. And I launched my television network, which is Crossroads TV. Later in 2018, my PR company, which is In the News PR. But I spend a lot of my time just consulting with business owners through AskSharifah.com, whether it's in podcast interviews, video interviews, or just assisting business owners to figure out the best way to monetize their business.
That is fantastic. Now, do me a favor, expand a little bit. How did you come about that? Because I know you do the consulting. I know you launched the TV network and PR. It's PR in the news. Is that correct?
No, but you close. It's In the News PR.
In the News PR. Okay, my mistake.
Yes, so that was good enough. Enough. I'm gonna have to register the domain.
You're gonna have to pick them both. So, how did you come about? Becoming a consultant. How did you get the title of Ask Sharifah?
Everyone just gave it to me when I first designed my first website in 1994. People wanted me to design their websites. And so then when I started marketing my websites, other people wanted me to assist them with marketing their websites. When I got to the top of Google, page 1, position 1, organically for the keywords professional business consultant, other business owners were like, I want to be at the top of Google. I want to be at the top of search engines. And so I was receiving a lot of questions. And so in 2009, I launched my own radio show, which was Ask Sharifah Radio. And I said, you know what, I'm going to answer questions. And so what I started doing is allowing people to call in and ask Sharifah their questions, as well as interviewing guests. And people would just ask me all their questions in regards to social media marketing, online marketing, again, PR, and just how to win the search engine game, how to monetize their online presence, how to monetize their social media. And so I began to get referrals from other people, and they would always say the same thing. I don't know what you do, but Mike told me to ask Sharifah, and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah, I think that's actually it's one of those things that's great when other people give you that sort of title, and you
Mhm.
know, then like, hey, this must be what I'm doing, because that is sometimes what other people see in you that you don't always pick up on yourself. You know, I've had that happen in my life. So if at this point, so fast forward, you said that was 2009, right?
When I started the radio show,
Right.
correct.
And I know you're still doing the radio show. I was a guest with you on your podcast or video podcast here a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago. So if there was one thing, and because you do many things, I think it's interesting that you brought up and you said, hey, you know, you did the consulting and the Google work and websites and all of these different pieces. So if you had to narrow it down to one thing that you're known for, what would that one thing be right now in 2019, 10 years later?
It's always been the same. It's a consultant because I
Okay.
consult on business, I consult on marketing, I consult on advertising, I consult on PR. It's just, I love to help people. I even am a spiritual advisor, an ordained minister. I just love to advise and consult with people, and just whether it's business, spirituality, religion, people want to talk to someone that they trust. I mean, that's
Hmm.
the most important thing. They can get information from anywhere. They can Google information, but the thing I always tell people, if you want to answer, you'll get 10 answers on Google that says pro for this subject. And then you'll get 10 answers for the same subject that says con. So you don't know what to believe. And so people need someone that they can call and say, you know what, I want to build my website. I know I have to get website hosting. I saw this website that says it's $500 a month for website hosting. And I'm like, okay, what do you need $500? You can go right to GoDaddy. I'm not sponsored by GoDaddy, no connection with GoDaddy, but I've
Sure.
been with GoDaddy since the 90s. You know, go over there, spend about $5, $10 a month, and get you a website, get your hosting. And so they need someone to tell them, you know, tell them the truth, as opposed to just trying to sell them on all these things and services and products that they may not even need.
So, being that that's the case, and I think that's one of the reasons that intrigued me, and I was so excited to be able to have you on the show, is you are consulting in all of these different facets and all of these different verticals of business, and you're encountering people that are very high level leaders, very high level managers, very you know, entrepreneurs in totally different areas. So, what would you say, you know, from your position? What are maybe three key characteristics that you would say really define a leader within an organization?
Wow, you hit me with that one. I don't really focus on leaders within the organization. My focus is business owners, and most of them are sole proprietorships. They don't necessarily have any employees. So I'll tell you what stands out for me for the ones have been successful. Number one,
Absolutely.
successful leaders, successful business owners, they're never satisfied at all. Employees tend to be satisfied. They'll be at a position for 30 years, they stay at the same place. Business owners always, you know, we did this, we built this, now what do we do next? So I always see, when I see that, I'm like, okay, this person is going to be successful. I always look for somebody who, and I use the term hungry, but I don't mean hungry in a literal sense, like they don't have any money, they don't have any food, but they're
Right.
always eager to work, to get up, to market, to promote. They eat, sleep, drink their business, their product, their service. So they always, you know, have that energy of going, 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 going. So that's one of the aspects that I always see with leaders or with business owners. The third one that I would probably see is that they are just in period, they're not 9 to 5 people. And 9 to 5 is a mentality, is not a, you know, I went to the job, I clocked in. No, you can have some business owners, some entrepreneurs who are really employees. They're 9 to 5 people. Leaders are the kind of person that you will see work all day. They work all the time. They take time out for fun, but there's still a focus on what they want to do. You know, again, what's next, what's coming up. So those are the main things that I see with business owners and leaders.
So let me recap that just so I make sure we're on the same page. So the first one you said, well, I'm going to go back to forward. You said they're not 9 to 5, they're workers, right? They're hungry,
Yeah.
and you said they're never satisfied. That was the first one, was they're never
Right.
satisfied, right? So
Right.
and here's the one of the things that I see just from the brief time knowing you. I definitely see those characteristics within yourself also. And so, that's one of those things I think probably when you're coaching and consulting with people that you're able to definitely accentuate that and bring that out of others. Would you agree with that? Bring those pieces out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you, as you're impacting additional people in your business, in your life, you're impacting and consulting with other people. Who are a few people that have had a impact on you in your either personal life or business life that have really helped you grow during your time?
Oh, definitely. Everyone asked me that question, and I'll give you three people.
Absolutely.
My mother, my father, and Oprah Winfrey. My mother is the corporate. She taught me a lot about corporate. And my mother, I remember high school, she told me, I still remember to this day, she said, learn how to type and you'll never have a problem finding a job. And so really the essence of a lot of the things that I do is really being able to type fast. I type about 85 words per minute. And so even in my work history, even not being self-employed, I can always get everything done faster than most people. I type fast, I walk fast, I talk fast, I think fast, everything is fast. And so my mother's been in the corporate world all my life, and she's taught me that loyalty. She taught me that consistency, getting up every day and doing what you have to do. Then I have a father who is entrepreneur. He's always had his own plumbing business, his own HVAC business, his own handyman business. He's always focused on being self-employed. I've never seen my father go out and get a job. So I learned that from them as my parents. But then one of the people that I definitely look up to is Oprah Winfrey. And one of the things that she said, I really live by today. She said, most people, when they don't know what to do, they have to do something. She said, when I don't know what to do, I don't do anything until I know what to do. And I live by that. It goes back to scripture where it says, peace, be still. Sometimes when you don't know, you just have this energy of, I don't know what to do. I'm all over the place. And it's like, okay, wait, all of a sudden, if you woosah a little bit, you breathe, take some time out, the clarity will come to you to exactly what to do, as opposed to just making a decision because you feel as if you have to do something. So I believe out of everyone in my life, my parents and Oprah Winfrey have motivated, inspired me, and gave me something to look up to.
That is absolutely fantastic. It's so funny as I'm interviewing people. One of the things when I'm on this side, like when you're on the other side, I have no loss of words. When I'm on this side, I just sit with a grin on my face, and I sit and I listen, and I find myself in so much agreement with the people that I'm interviewing, and it just brings joy to me because I'm sitting listening to you, and like the piece about certainly your parents and Oprah, just the things that you're sharing there. You said, okay, well, be still. I think that is it just hits right at home. It is so relevant. So yeah, absolutely. So when you are, if you're consulting with somebody, and if they don't know what to do, and you say, okay, well, you got to be still until you know where you're headed. If that's, as we're talking about that, what other pieces of advice, how do you help them sort through that? How do you help them come to the conclusion of what they need to act on?
When I'm consulting, I hardly ever use the peace be still or they don't know, because the majority of the people come to me because they don't know. So to me, that's like, yes, I prefer people who come to me and say, Sharifah, I don't understand this, as opposed to the people who come to me and say, Sharifah, this is what we need to do. And then we have to do this. And then if we get 8 million backlinks, then this, no. Wait, you know what I mean? I'm
Sure.
more like in my life, in my personal life, when I'm trying to figure out how to expand or what to do next in my personal life with my family, I'm like, be still. With my clients, I still have that, let's not rush to make a decision, but I want them to trust and understand that the road that they're trying to travel, I've been down that road. I've been down that road a time or 8. You know what I mean? I worked for so many different companies. I was laid off over 7 times. And when I first began to get laid off, and I've never been fired, what happened was, one company relocated to Florida, one company relocated to Chatsworth, California, which is a drive from where I live. Companies laid off hundreds of people. Companies didn't receive their second round of funding. Companies closed completely. And had to figure it out. And I was kind of feeling down because I felt like, oh my God, I'll never be able to find a job. Who's going to hire me? And I was kind of down on myself. And so I went for an interview, and a gentleman stood out to me and he said, wow, Sharifah, I look at your resume and you have the resume of an engineer because you have so many different skills. And I looked at it from a positive view and I said, yeah, I do. And so I began to look at this company. I learned how to do Google AdWords. I work for one of the largest SEO companies in the world. I can do Google AdWords. I can do SEO, SEM. I can do PPC for any brand, being how to create the accounts, how to manage them. So I learned that. I worked for a web hosting company. So I learned the ins and outs of website hosting. And it was one of the funniest stories that I tell is that at that hosting company, when I began, I had no technical experience. I was just a customer service supervisor. And the reason they hired me was simply because their technicians, their sysadmins, were sending emails to the customers after the customers emailed about their website problems and said, done, fixed, up. And the customers were like, hold on, wait a minute. We need some customer service. We glad that you fixed it, but these one-word answers don't work. So they said, we need some customer service assistance. And so they brought me in to help these sysadmins who knew everything about servers and hosting, email, websites, how to send an email, a friendly, nice email. And when I first got there, the system admins they wanted none of me. They were like, we are not talking to her. We don't care what she has to say. And it was really difficult at first. And like I said, the funny story, the one thing that changed was simply because the system administrators wanted to have weekends off. And management said, the only way you can get weekends off is there has to be a supervisor or manager on duty. And being that I was the newest employee, they was like, okay, well, Sharifah has to work weekends. And then the manager said, well, Sharifah can't work weekends because she has no idea how to work a server or do anything system administrating. And they was like, that's okay, we'll teach her, we'll help her. Look, Sharifah, if the server go down, push this button, bring the server back up. That's all you have to do. So I just learned all these different skill sets just through life. And so now when I'm consulting with customers or clients, I don't tell them per se to be still, but what I tell them is to trust, which is a part of being still. Trust that I have the roadmap, not because I'm this person, it's because I've been down this road so many different times.
Well, and I think that's a really, really relevant message is for somebody that is in leadership, that's in consulting, that's an entrepreneur, like that they have to have traveled the road. Mm-hmm. Right. And if they haven't traveled the road, they got to start somewhere. Right. Because, I mean, that's one of the ways success comes is through failures, through struggles.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So let me ask you, when you are going into an organization and it's kind of hitting me when you're talking about the sysadmins and so forth. So did you set aside like specific time with them to cast vision and say, hey, look, here's what we have to do? Or you kind of waited to win them over and let them come to you? How did that work out? It was really the weekend thing, or was there more to it than that?
No, it was the weekend thing, but even without the weekend thing, I was hired to do a job, and I was going to do my job regardless. I had no interest in winning these people over. I went in as nice and friendly, as kind as I was, but you cannot send customers emails that simply say done. No hi, no how you doing. No, I mean, you don't have to say how you doing to a customer, but you can't just say done. You just can't do that, But system administrators are not known for being the most friendly. You know what I mean? That they talk to computers.
They're wired differently, right?
Yes, they are. Believe me, they are.
So I can just imagine you're going in and you're like, what? No, that's not how this works, right? Yeah, and especially
Yes.
with your sort of personality. So uh, let me ask you if you could. So when we're talking about key characteristics of leadership, you getting in and coaching entrepreneurs and talking to people about roads and paths that you've traveled. I'm actually gonna shift gears totally on you. How do you
Go ahead,
connect?
Mike. I
Because
felt it. You kind of
yeah, because I'm searching for this, but I've got two
like,
other questions that I really want to ask you because of who you are.
go ahead.
One
Go ahead.
is, as a consultant, as an entrepreneur, as who you are, how are you connecting with customers? How are you getting the word out about Sharifah?
Referrals, referrals, and referrals. And referrals. That I mean,
Okay.
that's really what it comes down to. Because no matter, people always, that's the number one question people ask me: what is the best word type of
Right.
marketing? And I always say word of mouth. There will never ever be any form of marketing that will ever be word of mouth. Even if somebody saw a commercial and about something new or a new product, most people, especially in 2019, will do at least one or two things. They will either go on social media, go on the internet, and try to see some reviews, which is word of mouth, what other people have said about this product. Or they'll call someone like Ask Sharifah and just say, hey, I want this new product. I want to know what you think about it. And so that's usually what happens. People contact me because someone had told them to ask Sharifah.
So so they contact you through referral. What sort of impact has then where we're at right now in 2019 with you have a lot of social media platforms where everybody's talking and not a lot of people are listening, or everybody's trying to get their message out, and it's hard because you get drowned out. I mean, I'm just like me. I'm sure you get served tons and tons of ads, and so if you're trying to stand out in a social media world to attract referrals, what suggestions would you have for people to really stand out in that social networking sort of field?
Excellent question, Mike. I like that one. Might have to ask somebody that one
That's why I
tomorrow
shifted
or something.
gears.
But everything I say is to a certain extent against the conventional, because there's this trend and this theme where everyone says you have to be on social media platform. And I tell people I am not on every social media platform, and there is absolutely no way possible that you can be on every social media platform. There are literally millions of social media platforms. You couldn't be on them all if you wanted to. And if you figured out some technology, because I know that there's Hootsuite and TweetDeck and Social and there's so many different websites that can help you with being in a million places at one time. But what you lose is the engagement. That's what you lose. And so I'm not on Twitter. I used to be on Twitter. But when I was on Twitter, I had about 300,000 followers. Closed Twitter down. I used to be on LinkedIn. When I was on LinkedIn, I had about 15,000 connections. Closed LinkedIn down. And so now when people tell me, oh, well, are you on LinkedIn? I'm like, no. They're like, oh, you got to be on LinkedIn. No, I don't. Because what I've learned is that I focus my attention on what works for me. I love Facebook. I always wind up going back to Facebook because I'm not, my whole thing is, you see me and my personality,
Oh
even
yeah.
my shirt. Most people would have put on a suit, and I never try to stand out. I'm just, especially getting over 40. I was like, I thought Mike would like this one. You know what I mean? A
Yeah.
little color review,
Hey, little
but
pop.
a little pop. So what I do is I'm just me. I don't try to stand out. I don't try to get more attention than everybody else. And it's so weird because I actually have so many different people, some corporate people that are my friends, some business people, some personal people, some spiritual people. And sometimes I'm like, I'll say something. You see my social media, Mike, and I'll
Hmm.
say something. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder what this group is going to think about that comment. But being, on social media for so long, and the people who have been my friends forever, they just like, oh, that's Sharifah. You know what I mean? Like, that's her energy and her mood at that moment. But the one thing they know is they know my businesses. They know what I do. They know that I post my interview, do an interview with me flyer at least 3 times a week. So while I'm playing and goofing off and saying whatever comes to my mind, you know, I made this wonderful post today about how I actually left the house in the rain. You know what I mean? Just because that's what I wanted to talk about, you know. But I also post my business. I post my In the News PR flyer. I made my post about my book. My book should be out by tomorrow. I'm really excited. It's, yes, signs you might be an entrepreneur, how to discover the entrepreneur in you. It should be available tomorrow on AskSharifah.com and Amazon. If you go to AskSharifah.com today during this live and it's not linked up yet, just hit the contact us, send me a message, and then when it's up, I'll send everybody who contacts me an email and say that I'm live. I also told everyone that if they want a signed copy of my book, inbox me or email me. Yes, Mike, that's what I'm saying, because everybody can go to Amazon, but if you want me to sign it, I have to mail it to you directly. So just let me know, Mike. You know, we gonna make this happen. But I just talk. You know, I don't make posts to say, oh, how can I convince Mike Phillips to, you know, be my PR client? No, people fall in love with me. And the reason why I do that is because when people call me and I say something completely off the wall and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. I'm like, oh, you obviously ain't researching.
There's no facade.
Obviously have you're right. So that, you know, I never try to stand out. I just say be authentic. If you want to be on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all of them, I'm happy for you, but just be authentic. Focus on the engagement. That's what all these, don't focus on the post. Don't focus on the tweets. How many people actually talk to you? People talk to the people who talk to them. This is one tip. And this is my point, that if your listeners, your viewers, write that down, Mike. I saw that pen come out, right? If you don't get anything else, this is the one thing that has monetized my whole social media. If you watch me, I respond to each comment someone says on each and every post, period. I don't care what it is. If they comment and they put 2 hearts, guess what? I'm going to comment 1 heart. But I want them to know that they took their time to talk to me. Who am I to ignore them? They responding to me. And over time, you'll see that first, your post will get 5 likes. Now all of your posts are 10 likes. Okay, next you'll see 30 likes. And then the really good ones, it'll have 100 likes. But it'll begin to build because you're creating that relationship. You're creating that engagement. So I always tell people, no matter what, if it's good, if it's bad, comment on every post. One of the things that I'm very proud of, no matter, you know, how the company is doing, we're no longer a part of them. But when we took Punch TV Studios public, when we did an IPO to raise millions of dollars, and we wound up raising between $6 and $7 million, upwards, you know, up to $10 million. We raised that money primarily through social media. We took the social media from 0 fans to over 26,000 followers. I was the director of marketing. I did all the posts, created all the ads, wrote all the press releases. And the one thing that we did from day one, and this is where we literally raised millions of dollars, but I told them, I said, no matter what someone says, good or bad, you respond to that comment. And we did. And some people who didn't understand the SEC, or some people who didn't understand what an IPO was, some people who didn't understand investing, some people didn't understand stock. So they would make little comments. Oh, well, you're not allowed to promote stock on Facebook. And we respond to them, give them little links that show, you know, there's no legalities preventing you. Thanks to Regulation A+, you are able to advertise on the internet. You know what they would say? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, knowledge is power. We thank you. We just want to make sure you understand. So I always tell people, if you want to really monetize your whole social media, simply respond to every comment.
That's fantastic, and it's great advice. I'm going to ask you, I've got like two more questions for you. I've got a whole slew of them, but just for the sake of time. One is, how do you decide which social network? Like for you, you said, hey, Facebook is my thing, but there are some other major ones. If someone's going to narrow it down to 1 to 3, how do you have any advice for somebody to pick out, like, hey, this is the one I should go after, or these are the couple that I should go after, like 20,000 foot view?
Absolutely. Go join all 18,000 of them. And then after about a week, ask yourself this question. Which one did I enjoy posting on the most? Which one gave me the most engagement, the most comments, the most response? And then you leave all the rest of the 18,000 and you focus on those main ones. I'm on Instagram, but for me, I'm not a very photo, I'm not into photos. I don't take a lot of photos. If you look at my social media, you'll see 18,000 flyers for my business, but I take very few photos. I take very few photos of my children and certain things because I'm a recluse. I'm a very private person. So for a recluse who's a private person who works from 2 a.m. or 5 a.m. until the sun goes down, Instagram doesn't work for me. I don't like short little videos. I don't like not being able to share what I want to share and comment the way I want to comment. So Facebook works for me. And also I can talk to everyone at once. I have, cousins in Columbus, Ohio who support me. My aunts in Columbus, Ohio and uncles who support me. I have my father's family in New York City who support me, and I don't have to say, why don't you go to LinkedIn and then be a part of no. Everyone is there. My high school friends are there to support me. They've been calling me like, okay, how can I order a book? I'm like, okay, the book is not released yet. Then the next one comes, how can I get your book? Okay, as soon as the book is available,
it's coming soon.
On Facebook, but because that's how you market, you build that anticipation. So once it's actually released, you have the people you can just call them and say, Mike, remember when we had that interview and you had said you was gonna get my book? Okay, it's ready. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get the book. So that's how you build it. So just to answer your question, find the one that works best for you.
Great. Now, how for people that are wanting to grow, what are some outside of either inside social media or outside of social media? What are some of the best resources you might recommend to people that are going into leadership, management, entrepreneurism, starting their own company? What are some resources you might say, hey, here's 1 or 2 things you should definitely look at this to grow?
Okay, the top one thing that I recommend is go to AskSharifah.com and get the book Signs You Might Be an Entrepreneur, How to Discover the Entrepreneur in You. Okay, we're going to start right there because all the questions that people ask me about starting a business are in there. But aside from that, the thing is I go with what works for me. And this is what I always tell my clients. So that's an excellent question because this is one of the first things that I tell people. If you honestly want to be successful, ask yourself, do you want to be successful? If you don't, that's okay. But I want to know how much time and energy I should give you knowing if you want to be successful or not. Because the one thing successful people understand that not everyone likes apples. And not everyone likes oranges. You cannot make all of the people happy all of the time. So find that group of people that likes your apples or your oranges or who want what you have. So if some people like to go out and line up their whole calendar with networking events and they do 3 networking events and then the Chamber of Commerce and, a day and I'm not that person. Again, I'm reclusive. I spend a lot of my time on social media. I'm on social media from the time I open my eyes, and sometimes I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I get up and I reach for my phone. I'm literally like, don't do it. Because once I touch that phone and I see my social media, I'm not going back to sleep at all. I'm like, okay, if I leave the phone alone, I can go back to sleep and then get up about 5 or 6. But once I'm on social media, because my emails are on my phone, my social media is on my phone. So since I'm talking, I may have missed calls, text, so I don't go out and network. Other people don't like talking on the phone. Some people don't like writing. They don't like being on social media. They want to go out and network. Some people, you have to really find what works for you. I tell people I was blessed with the gift of gab and the gift of monetization. I've been talking. I haven't stopped talking since I learned my first words. Drove my mom crazy because I love to talk. But some people don't like to talk. I can't convince some people to do a video interview because they don't want anybody to see their face. I'm like, okay, do you want to be successful? Do you want to get out there? Do you want to share your story? Or do you want to hide in the closet? And if you do, I'm not here to judge you. That's okay. But you have to find, and I tell people again, the spiritual aspect of me says this. The reason everyone has at least one talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was blessed with at least one gift. And what people try to do is they make that gift so woo-woo and so esoterical. It's not. Your gift, your talent was here for one reason. And that is for you to survive, for you to survive on this earth and for you to take care of you and yours. So if you want to be successful, you have to go out into the world and use your talent. People use talent in different ways. So again, find out what works for you and then work it. That's what I would say.
So if people, what happens if somebody's struggling to find what their talent is or what their one passion is? Do you have any advice for someone that says, hey, look, I like doing all these things, or gosh, I don't know what excites me yet. What piece of advice would you give that person?
And with the utmost respect, Mike, I would say I don't believe that. And that's what I would tell them. There is something that you are passionate about. You may not want to admit it, or at least admit it to me, but there's something that makes your heart sing. And that's what you have to go for. That one thing you wake up in the morning and see. Where some people go wrong is this. They say, oh, I love motorcycles, so I'm going to create a motorcycle business. Just because you love something doesn't mean that you have the business acumen to make that business a success. Now, I'm not trying to be a dream killer and kill their dreams. But what I say to them is this: go take some classes, go take some management classes, go take some accounting classes, go do something where you are able to build a successful business out of what you love to do. But everyone, that's why I said everyone. That's why, that's a blanket across the board statement. So if anyone says that they don't have it, then you haven't honed into what it is. And I'm not a life coach. I prefer people go find themselves or figure it out and then come to me and say, Sharifah, I want to build a successful leadership business. I want to help people learn about leadership. And then I go the same thing. I usually go to their website, look at their website, analyze their website and say, okay, this you can monetize, or let's make this change, do this, and then you can be successful. But you have to figure it out what you want to do, not what your mom wants you to do, not what your wife wants you to do, your husband, your dad, your kids. What is it that, if you could, it's that same question. If money was not an issue and you could do anything in the world that you want to do, what would you do? And then do that.
Oh man. I think that was one of the two pieces that you said there. One, I do agree with you. I think most people do know their passion. Some just don't want to admit it for fear of judgment, for fear of ridicule, for fear of all those things. People have a tough time admitting it. And then when you summed it up there and you said, look, whatever it is, do that. I think that's really, really powerful. So kind of coming to a close. Sorry. Go.
I just want to say one thing, because we lost some time to be in this. I just want to throw this in. I'm not blaming you, Mike. I'm not blaming you, but I just want to throw this in back to what you said, is when the people don't want to admit it, because I'm not the easiest person to work with. You can see, like, I try my best, but when I find somebody telling me the honest truth, I really tell them, I say, look, you don't have to lie to me. I'm here to help you. I'm on your side. So if you give me your true desires, or truly what you want to do, and you commit to me and to yourself that what you want is to build a successful business, I'm going to help you. I'm on your team. Sometimes business owners just need a cheerleader. And I give my little, cheerleading pat, whatever they call them, rah, rah, rah. I don't even know.
You got your pom-poms.
Yeah. Pom-poms. Thank you, Mike. See, we need a team. You here, go team. And I get my pom-poms out and I cheer for them. So that's what I do to help the business owners, but they have to figure out what they want to do. Real quick, again, I'll let you go off. But one of the last companies I worked was American Express. And when you start working at American Express, one of the things that they tell you day one when you hire is this: we are a for-profit corporation. That's it. And so when I work with clients, I tell them the same thing. When I ask you, okay, do you want to be a multi-million-dollar company? How much do you want to make? And you tell me, oh, well, I would love to make $5,000. I'm like, okay, well then let me give you Mike's number. Mike might be able to work with you, but
oh no, come on now, it's up.
Right. Yes, I just had to add that, Mike, because really, like, I'm here to do, but be real. You got to be what you want to do.
Absolutely. No, I love it. Profit is not a dirty word. Profit's a 5-letter word, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. So, what is the best? Any other closing thoughts before we wrap it here?
Well, I'm gonna let you wrap it, Mike. Because you and I, we be here all day talking.
We could stay. Facebook, I think, will let us go for 4 hours. I think YouTube lets you go for longer than that. I don't know the amount, so we'll do it. We should do like a seminar, like a training class at some point on this.
I would love to. I would love to.
So, what is the best way, Sharifah? What's the best way for people to contact you? I think I know what you're going to say here, but what's the best way for people to get in touch?
I don't know what you thought. I was just going to simply say Ask Sharifah, AskSharifah.com, but aside from that, call me, text me, 562-822-0965. Again, you can go to AskSharifah.com or give me a call, send me a text, inbox me on Facebook, send me a friend request, Sharifah Hardie, whatever. I'm the, Google me. I'm the easiest person in the world to get a hold of, and I love to serve. That's what I'm here to do, is to serve business owners and entrepreneurs.
You are absolutely fantastic. I so appreciate you taking the time to join me tonight for this live leadership lesson for my podcast of The Front. And I will tell everybody there, if you email her, you got about 40 seconds before you get an email back, right? And
don't tell all my secrets, Mike. That's why I can't leave the house.
Hey, I'm just saying. You and I, we started email exchange, and I was like, okay, I'll get something back tonight. And like 5 seconds later, all of a sudden, here's another email in my inbox. I was like, well, I got to answer, right? I got to go back. So no, absolutely, just
my phone is in my hand. I have no excuse.
Yeah, so I know you've been there. People have been messaging you while we're on here. You're gonna, as soon as we get off, you got to respond to them. So thank you so much again for joining me.
I'm like, I was talking to Mike.
I'm a wrap it here. Hang tight for just a minute, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for everybody tuning in to this live leadership lesson with my good friend Sharifah Hardie, her and I, we may be doing, who knows? We're going to do some 8-hour podcast marathon. It's coming. I have to imagine it's coming sometime 2019, maybe 2020. I don't know. And I know she said AskSharifah.com. Make sure to remember that her book comes out. It's supposed to be tomorrow, so check it out. And thank you for everybody who took the time to join us on this live leadership lesson. Absolutely just fantastic wisdom that Sharifah brought us tonight. So ton of insight. So I would encourage you, if you have not yet, share this video, because I guarantee you that there's somebody out there that's connected to you in your network that needs to hear her message and see the video. So thank you everybody for taking the time to tune in and join me tonight. I appreciate you. Remember, I'm doing this every Wednesday and Sunday. There's new episodes of The Front. Check out my episodes at leadtheteam.tv, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. We'll talk to you soon, everybody. Have a great evening.